The 2025 Step-by-Step Guide to Starting Your Etsy Business, the coffee, had gone cold again. She stared at it, sitting untouched beside her laptop, while the sounds of morning chaos filled the house behind her. Another day of wondering if she could actually do this, if building something of her own was even possible anymore. She wasn't chasing millions or some fantasy exit strategy. She just wanted freedom, the kind that fits between nap times and school pickups, the kind that whispers you're more than what you've become in the blur of routine. But every time she opened that browser tab, the same doubts crept in. Who was she to think she could start a business? What did she even have to offer? The questions felt heavier than they should. Then, one evening, scrolling through her phone while the kids finally slept, she saw it. A simple handmade journal cover, selling on Etsy for $47. Made by someone who started just 2 years ago. Someone who probably felt exactly like she did once. And something shifted. Not confidence exactly, more like permission. The kind you give yourself when you realize waiting for the perfect moment means waiting forever. She didn't know it yet, but that moment of recognition would become the foundation of everything that followed. Because starting an Etsy shop in 2025 isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to begin anyway. What would you have done in her place? The idea didn't come from a business book or some viral success story. It came from the mess on her kitchen table. Literally. Her daughter's art supplies scattered everywhere. And she'd been organizing them into small fabric pouches she'd sewn during stolen moments of quiet. Her sister had said something offhand during a video call. "You should sell those. They're actually really nice." She'd laughed it off. But the seed was planted. That night, after everyone was asleep, she typed how to start an Etsy shop into the search bar. The results were overwhelming. Tutorials, courses, success stories, cautionary tales. She closed the laptop, feeling more confused than inspired. But she couldn't stop thinking about it. Part of her still felt guilty for wanting more, as if ambition had to disappear when motherhood began, as if creating something for herself meant taking something away from her family. The internal negotiation was exhausting. Maybe success just wasn't meant for someone like her. Then came the moment that changed the trajectory. Not a dramatic revelation, but a quiet realization while folding laundry. She was already creating things, already solving small problems with her hands. The only difference between what she was doing and what that Etsy seller was doing was belief and a shop. She took a breath, opened the laptop again. This time, she didn't search for permission. She searched for process. The first step was simpler than she'd imagined. Creating an Etsy account took maybe 10 minutes. Shop name, preferences, basic information. She chose a name that felt personal but not precious, something she could grow into without feeling locked in. Then came the hard part. Not the technical aspects, but the internal ones. Deciding what to sell meant declaring what she believed she was good at. It meant being visible in a way that felt vulnerable. She started by looking at what already existed in her world. The fabric pouches, yes, but also the small watercolor prints she'd been making during the kids' art time. The hand-lettered cards she'd designed for friends. The simple wooden toys she'd refinished from thrift store finds. According to recent data, handmade items and digital products represent the fastest-growing categories on Etsy, with vintage and craft supplies following closely. But the real insight wasn't about categories. It was about authenticity. Shops that reflected genuine passion consistently outperformed those chasing trends. She made a list, not of what would sell, but of what she actually enjoyed making. The intersection of skill and joy. That's where she needed to start. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress. It looks like staying. Staying with the discomfort of not knowing. Staying with the process when results feel invisible. She decided on the fabric pouches to start. Simple, practical, something she could make in the margins of her day. But she knew presentation mattered. The photos would be everything. This is where most beginners stumble, not in creating the product, but in translating its value through an image. She didn't have a professional camera or a studio setup, just her phone and natural light from the kitchen window. She learned quickly that Etsy's algorithm favored certain things. Clear, bright photos with the product centered, multiple angles, lifestyle shots showing the item in use. The first image, especially critical, since that's what appeared in search results. She spent an afternoon experimenting. White poster board as a backdrop, her daughter's wooden blocks as props, the late morning light that came through the window at just the right angle. She took probably 100 photos to get 5 good ones. Then came the doubt, the kind that whispers louder than failure. Were these photos good enough? Would anyone actually buy something based on images taken on a kitchen counter? She almost deleted everything and gave up before even listing her first product. But she remembered something she'd read in one of those late-night research sessions. Done is better than perfect, especially in the beginning. The goal wasn't to be flawless. The goal was to exist. She uploaded the photos, wrote a product description that tried to be honest rather than salesy, set a price that felt fair, maybe even a little low because confidence would come later. And then, with her heart beating faster than it should for something so small, she clicked publish. Her first listing was live. Nothing happened immediately. No sales notification, no flood of favorites. Just silence and the regular sounds of her house continuing around her. Part of her felt foolish. Part of her felt brave. She smiled, not because it was easy, but because it was finally hers. Over the next few days, she added more listings. The process became less terrifying with repetition. Each product description got a little clearer. Each photo set up a little more efficient. She was learning the language of her own shop. Pricing was harder than she'd expected. Too low, and she'd be working for nothing. Too high, and she'd price herself out before anyone knew her quality. She researched competitors, calculated materials and time, added a margin for profit and growth. What she discovered was that pricing on Etsy in 2025 wasn't just about covering costs. It was about positioning. Handmade items commanded respect when priced with confidence. Buyers understood they were paying for time, skill, and uniqueness, not mass production. She raised her prices slightly. It felt uncomfortable, but necessary. Then came the keyword research. This part felt like learning a new language. Etsy's search worked like a matching game between what sellers listed and what buyers searched for. Getting it right meant the difference between visibility and obscurity. She used Etsy's own search bar, typing in her product type and watching what auto-completed. Those suggestions were real searches from real people. She made notes: zipper pouch, small makeup bag, fabric organizer. Each phrase represented a path to discovery. Tags and titles became strategic, not stuffed with keywords, but thoughtfully crafted to match how people actually searched. She learned that specificity often worked better than generic terms. Floral cotton zipper pouch performed better than just pouch. What would you do differently if you were starting today? The first sale came on day 8. A notification on her phone while she was making lunch. Someone in Oregon had bought one of her pouches, $17 minus fees. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was validation that felt disproportionately huge. She packaged it carefully that afternoon. Tissue paper, a small thank you card she'd handwritten, a sticker on the mailer. Details that made the unboxing feel intentional. She'd read that customer experience started with packaging and followed through to follow-up messages. She dropped it at the post office feeling lighter than she had in months. But momentum didn't mean consistency. Some weeks brought sales. Others brought nothing but crickets and self-doubt. She learned that Etsy wasn't a vending machine where you inserted products and received money. It was more like gardening. Plant, tend, wait, adjust. She started studying her shop stats obsessively. Views, favorites, conversion rates. The numbers told stories if she learned to read them. High views, but no sales meant her photos attracted attention, but something in the listing didn't convert. Maybe price, maybe description, maybe shipping cost. She tweaked continuously, changed a title here, swapped a photo there, added more product variations. The shop was alive, evolving based on feedback both explicit and implicit. Then came the doubt again, the kind that arrives when you're far enough in to know it's real work, but not far enough to see significant results. Part of her wondered if she was wasting time, if the hours spent sewing and photographing and listing were hours stolen from being present with her family. The guilt was familiar, but sharper now because this time she'd chosen it. She almost stopped, almost let the shop go dormant, and returned to the safety of no expectations, until one message changed everything. A customer wrote, thanking her. Not just a polite transaction acknowledgement, but a real message about how the pouch she'd bought was being used every day, how it held her daughter's art supplies perfectly, how it made her smile. It was such a small thing, but it reminded her why she'd started, not for the money alone, but for the act of creating value. of making something that mattered to someone, even in a tiny way. She kept going. By month 3, she'd learned that social media integration wasn't optional anymore. Etsy's algorithm favored shops with external traffic. She started an Instagram account, posting behind-the-scenes content. The process of making, not just the finished product, people responded to the story more than the item. They wanted to see the messy kitchen counter, the coffee cup, always in frame, the honest reality of building something small while living a full life. She wasn't trying to project perfection, she was sharing progress. And that authenticity built trust faster than any polished campaign could. According to recent marketplace analysis, Etsy sellers who maintained active social presence saw 30 to 50% higher sales than those who relied solely on platform traffic. The platform was crowded. Differentiation came through connection. She posted consistently, but not frantically, a few times a week. Stories more than feeds. She wasn't trying to go viral. She was trying to be real. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress. It looks like staying. The breakthrough came not from a single moment, but from accumulation. Small improvements compounding over time. Better photos led to higher conversion rates. Better keywords led to more visibility. Better packaging led to repeat customers and word of mouth. By month 6, she was averaging 10 to 15 sales per week. Not enough to quit anything, but enough to feel real. Enough to justify the space it took in her life and schedule. She expanded her product line carefully, added prints and cards, testing what resonated. Some items flopped immediately. Others surprised her with steady demand. She learned to read her audience, to notice patterns in what sold and what sat. The hardest lesson was about patience. Etsy wasn't a sprint or even a marathon. It was more like tending a garden through seasons. Some months bloomed. Others required faith that growth was happening beneath the surface. She also learned about the operational side that no one talks about. Inventory management when your studio is a closet. Shipping logistics when the post office run has to fit between drop-off and pickup. Customer service messages answered while dinner cooked. The romance of entrepreneurship met the reality of execution, and she found she actually liked the puzzle of it. The problem-solving, the optimization, the constant iteration toward better. What helped her most wasn't just the tools, though tools mattered. It was realizing she didn't need permission to start small. She'd tested different approaches before finding what truly worked. Canva Pro for graphics and branding. A simple ring light that made photos dramatically better. A thermal printer for shipping labels that saved hours each week. These weren't revolutionary investments, but they made her path a little lighter, her process a little smoother. This isn't a promotion, just acknowledgement that the right tools at the right time can remove friction that stops momentum. She'd leave recommendations below for anyone curious, not because she needed to sell anything, but because she remembered how overwhelming the beginning felt, how any shortcut that preserved energy for the actual work was worth its weight. By the end of her first year, her shop had generated just over $12,000 in revenue. After costs and fees, profit was maybe $6,000. Not life-changing money, not even part-time income really, but it was hers. More importantly, something internal had shifted. She no longer questioned whether she could build something. She'd proven she could. The shop was evidence. Small, imperfect, evolving evidence that she was capable of more than she'd believed. Her workspace was still her kitchen counter, but it no longer felt like chaos. It felt like possibility. The kids had watched this transformation too, though they probably didn't name it that way. They'd seen her create, struggle, persist, celebrate small wins. They'd seen her be more than just mom. They'd seen her be herself. And maybe that was the most valuable product of all. When she poured her coffee the next morning, it was still hot, because this time she wasn't rushing. She was building. The Etsy shop wasn't the end goal. It was the beginning of understanding what she was capable of creating when she gave herself permission to try. And that understanding would ripple forward into everything that followed. Starting an Etsy business in 2025 isn't about having the perfect product or the ideal circumstances. It's about beginning where you are with what you have. It's about choosing yourself in the small, daily ways that eventually add up to transformation. The platform will change. Algorithms will shift. Trends will come and go. But the fundamental truth remains constant. Creating value for others while building something meaningful for yourself is always possible. You just have to start. Tell us what part of this journey resonated with you most and where you're watching from. Your story might just inspire the next person who needs to hear it. Tell us which country or city you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye!